how do higher mortgage rates affect the companies that build homes and make the materials that go into them, including bricks? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, the man behind the 134-year-old brick manufacturing company, Acme Brick, President and CEO Ed Watson. And of course, Acme Brick is owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Ed, what are your biggest concerns about these rising mortgage rates?
Well, you're exactly right. The rise in interest rates are going to have a direct impact on our business. Continues to be a big concern for us. You know, we were optimistic that we were seeing rates come down a little bit, from 6.5%, maybe down to low 6s. If we could get interest rates, I think even in the 5.5%, we would see a major improvement in home building. So the affordability is a concern. Interest rates as well as the price of homes continue to be an issue, and it's kind of a barrier to entry for a lot of new home buyers that would like to come to the market. This is not going to help having that much of an increase in interest rates.
Okay, so how is it affecting you guys? Have you put a hold on hiring? Are you letting people go? Tell me exactly what you're seeing at Acme Brick and what you have to do as these situations continue to stay on the same path.
Well, we continue to look to right-size our business. Thankfully, we've not had to have any cutbacks or layoffs. We really control the amount of production that we, based on the feedback we get from the home builders and our customers, how much inventory we need to have on the ground. So it's a constant communication. We meet monthly based on information we have, looking at the forecasts that we have internally, and what we're seeing is opportunities to make the right products at the right time. So inventory control as management is a key part of what we're working on currently. Every plant we have is operating, just none of them are operating at full capacity with the exception of a very few.
Do you expect that would change if we saw maybe a full point cut off 30-year fixed rates?
Oh, I think we could. I think the affordability still is an issue maybe with the cost of homes, but we believe 5.5% is a good target. If we could see 30-year mortgage rates at 5.5%, you know, 2022 was one of our best years ever, and we had very low interest rates. I don't expect that we'll see interest rates, back that low at 2.5% or 3%, but a 5.5% we believe would be a good target rate, and I think we could see housing starts get back to the levels that they need to be, around 1.5 million starts a year.
Well, that would be helpful. You know, we got April new home sales out today, and they unexpectedly really kind of soared here. I mean, by 10.9%. That's the highest since February of 2022. That's good for you guys because new homes need bricks, do they not? So to what do you attribute that? Because
that's very true.
Existing home sales weren't as exciting yesterday.
That's true, but if you look at December, December home sales were high, and then they fell off in January. February was high again, March fell, so it's just been up and down. So what we really need is good sustainable sales of those homes. So you're not looking at an up and down swing, but 10 or 11 points. So, I mean, we're excited about the 11-point gain month over month, but we really need to see that much more sustainable and hopefully a trend that will just continue on for several months.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We see sustainable is the perfect word because here we're seeing an unexpected jump. But if you look year to date at what the home builders have done, D.R. Horton has had a struggle here. They're not the only ones. I mean, D.R. Horton almost 15% down year to date. NVR is also down double digits. Lennar down something like 22%. What anticipation do you have, or what are you modeling for when it comes to the tariffs hitting your company? I mean, I know that bricks are made of clay and sand and lime. Where do you source your materials?
Well, thankfully, we are vertically integrated. We own all of our raw material sources for clay. We do purchase certain additives to give different colors to the brick we manufacture. We'll see a minimum impact from some of the purchases of those raw materials that we would purchase, but it's not a very large portion of it. So thankfully, having our own clay sources at every site is really important for us. We do see impacts potentially in other areas of our business. For instance, equipment that we may purchase from overseas, that we're looking at new capital improvements, what may happen with the euro or the European markets as far as the tariffs. Those are concerns because we agreed to a price today, but those prices could be changed obviously as we see the tariffs change. So that's an impact. I think a big impact obviously is on the home builders themselves. They, to understand where they are as far as the cost increases that they're incurring, whether it be from whatever materials that they're purchasing, has really put pressure on other suppliers to keep costs or selling prices down because the overall cost of housing and that's the affordability issue, is to try to keep those costs lower. So tariffs are not something that have been very good for our business, from that standpoint. Not a lot of impact, though, on our manufacturing costs, thankfully, and so we try to manage that as best we can.
Interesting, because in the last hour, President Trump said tariffs are good for business, they don't hurt business. So you're underscoring that it's not helpful to your business.
At this point, it's not. We're not seeing the benefit. I understand it's a long-term play, but I believe the tariffs are going to cause inflation to continue to be a concern for us as costs go up. They got to be passed through. So our costs that we incur because of our labor costs, fuel costs, all the things that are impacting our ability to be as profitable as we desire to be in a very unstable market. So we've just got it. We're working on it weekly, daily, how we can manage that to the best benefit that we can for our business.
Ed, it's great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Ed Watson of Acme Brick.